Hello everyone, I hope you're all well. So this is the first video in an intended series that I've spoken about under the banner of your path to recovery from your first steps to the end of your journey. And in this very first video I'm going to be talking about when you're initially first struck with tinnitus, okay? The feelings, the thoughts, the emotions, the reactions that most people will have when they're first struck. A lot of this could be under the banner of I wish I knew then what I know now. So if you're watching this first video in this series and you've recently been struck with tinnitus, then this really is for you. For those of you that have had tinnitus for a while, most of you will have figured out much of what I'm going to be talking about already. So this, as I say, really is for people that have just recently been struck with tinnitus. All right, okay, so you have tinnitus. It may have happened suddenly from nowhere, or you may have had a gradual build-up. It may have been from actual physical noise trauma, hair cell damage, or it may have been more from a neurological cause. Either way, it's been an unexpected and unwanted event for you. Now, when we first hear tinnitus for the first time, the first thoughts that most of us are going to have are, what the hell is this noise? Where's it coming from? What's causing it? And why won't it stop? And we go straight into fight or flight mode, panic, fear and anger that this intruder has invaded our life, particularly if you were struck very suddenly. Okay, and I know how that feels. So when we're first struck, the majority of us are going to be panicking, stressed, frightened and angry. This is perfectly understandable, as most of us will have no idea why this is happening. So if you're watching this and you've just been struck with tinnitus, I want to say to you, first thing I want to say to you is stress will cause your tinnitus to increase. Okay, now one of the first things that will induce panic and stress is not knowing or understanding what the hell is happening to you, what this sound is, where it's coming from, or why it happened. For those of you that are frantically trying to figure out what this sound or sounds are in your head and what caused this to happen, I'm going to try and explain a few key factors that will hopefully help you to understand what tinnitus is, why it can happen, some of the causes, and maybe give you the answer as to why you now find yourself part of the tinnitus community. Okay, so tinnitus is a phantom sound or sounds that are created in the brain, the mind. It's the brain that causes the sound we hear as tinnitus, regardless of how or why or what caused you to have tinnitus. It is the brain that creates the sound. It is not your ears. It is your brain, regardless of the cause. Just turn this music down a little bit. Okay. So, what is the cause? Why have you now found yourself joining the tinnitus community? Why do you have this noise in your head? There are many causes for tinnitus. There are many causes, okay? But in my opinion, there are two main causes, the big two if you like, okay? So what are they? The one that the mainstream medical world tend to confine themselves to, and is most publicly, I say, known, and I would say people are most aware of, is, and the tangible one, it's the tangible cause, and this is why the medical world seem to confine themselves to this, because it's tangible. It's more of a tangible cause than others, and that is hair cell damage, okay, caused by noise trauma or physical injury. Now, I'm not going to go into minute detail about hair cell or hair cell damage. There's plenty of other videos out there, including on my channel, that explain in more detail about hair cell damage, and it doesn't really help you to be bombarded with info anyway at this stage. But simply put, in your ear you have hair cells, thousands of them. When you hear a noise or sounds, these hair cells will vibrate. That's what sound is, vibration. And they vibrate and they send a signal to your brain. The brain passes it through the auditory system to your brain. Your brain then interprets the sound and turns it into something you can make sense of. That's the sound of a bird, that's the sound of a car, that's someone talking. Okay? Now, if these hair cells get damaged, or more likely die, due to excessive loud noise exposure, which could be anything from listening to excessively loud music, having an alarm go off in your ear, with loud music, particularly through headphones, to anything like actual physical trauma, a bang to the head, a motorcycle accident, something like that. Okay, if the hair cells are damaged or dead, they cannot send the correct signal to your brain. There are people out there who have a different theory on this, but this is mine and this is what I believe, okay, and this is what I think is going on when this happens, okay. The brain doesn't like this, and therefore it will create its own sound in your head, and that's what you'll hear as tinnitus, okay. Now, if you want more really detailed explanation of how and why that occurs, there are, as I say, other videos out there. I really urge you, though, to not bombard yourself with information, as it will not make getting better any easier, okay. But that's my simplified explanation of one of the two main factors for tinnitus: physical trauma to the hair cells, okay. But what's the deal? What's the deal if you don't have any hair cell damage, like myself, okay, and you haven't suffered any noise trauma, you haven't suffered any injury, your hearing is fine, but you have tinnitus? Why? How can this be? If it were just hair cell damage that caused tinnitus, this wouldn't be the case, okay? So the second big main cause for tinnitus, in my opinion, although tinnitus can be caused by physical noise trauma, hair cell damage, tinnitus sits in the auditory system, the nervous system, and in the brain. It is neurological, okay? It's a neurological issue, which, if not treated correctly, can also become a psychological issue. So even if you've been struck with tinnitus due to physical injury or noise trauma damage to your hair cells, the issue is no longer with your ears. The issue is now with your brain and your nervous system. How and why do I know this? Okay, now, with some people, such as myself and many others, tinnitus can be triggered without having suffered any noise trauma or physical injury. Some people don't have any hair cell damage, they haven't suffered an injury, haven't been exposed to loud noise, right? So no hair cell damage. So why do many people develop tinnitus when there is no tangible trigger? Again, I'm going to simplify this explanation, because if you're one of the people that doesn't have any noise trauma damage, you will be wondering, well, how is it then that the doctors are telling me this is hair cell damage, that's what's causing it? I don't have any hair cell damage, so why have I got this sound in my head? Tinnitus can be triggered by a breakdown in the nervous system, literally a nervous breakdown. High amounts of prolonged anxiety, fear, anger, depression, frustration, all encompassing stress. This can cause your brain to trigger tinnitus, because tinnitus feeds off stress and negative emotions. So if you have lived your life in a state of stress for too many years, your brain can finally say, I've had enough of how you've been treating me for the past 20, 30, 40 years. Have some of this tinnitus. You need to stop and you need to change. You need to change your mindset. You need to change your whole way of lifestyle. It really is your brain warning you that you need to change your whole mindset. And this is why even with people who do have hair cell damage, find that when they are stressed, anxious or angry, they have a spike and their tinnitus gets worse. Why? Their hair cells are not dying, growing back again, dying and growing back again. So why does this happen? The answer is because it is a neurological and psychological issue. Tinnitus really is a condition of the mind, body and soul. So regardless of how you were struck with tinnitus, physical noise damage or injury or neurological induced tinnitus, stress, regardless of any of that, the area that we need to treat and heal is the same. It is the brain and it is the nervous system. And in this first video on your path to recovery, I want to say to you, the first lesson is remain calm, don't panic. You can get better. You can recover. Okay? Tinnitus does not need to be a permanent state for you. You can recover. And the very first aspect of the very first step you take on your path to recovery is remaining calm and not elevating your stress levels by panicking, being frightened or getting angry. Accepting that tinnitus is now with you, but also knowing that with the right help and finding the right methods that will work for you, you can and will find your path to recovery, as I and many others have done. Believe me, I know how difficult it can be at this time to put this into practice, or even believe it. It's not easy. Also, there is no point in driving yourself crazy. If you've just been struck, there's no point in driving yourself crazy, causing yourself more stress, trying to frantically figure out exactly why you have it or exactly what caused it. Even if you know it was hair cell damage, there's no point in frantically looking for cures, okay, to treat or heal damaged hair cells. Okay, if the hair cells have died, they are gone. They do not grow back. So it's pointless treating your ears. The tinnitus is with you, and the way to heal from this is by treating your brain and your nervous system, not your ears. Mindset. But again, your very first step on your path to recovery is to remain calm and realise that you can get better, and where you are now is not where you are going to be when you reach the end of your path to recovery, where you will find yourself in a new, better, peaceful place. So that's your very first step. Realise you can get better and remain calm. Okay, I will see you all in the next video, where I will talk about where most people find themselves going for help with the GP, and where your next steps are and how to find them on your path to recovery. I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.